Good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, episode 7, season 5 of Caught Up Loving a Trill One by Michelle Elaine. We are going to be reviewing chapter 6. Oh, yeah, chapter 6. And it gets a little juicy. Ooh, ooh. If you watched the last if you watch the last bedtime story, you know what my theory is about Saint being back in town. Well, he is. And we're going to see if there's going to be a connection between him and Toy while he's in town. But before we get into the review, we're going to do that bedtime cocktail. Okay, so the bedtime cocktail is going to be daiquiris. Yes, indeed, honey. We're going to be doing daiquiris tonight. So, one thing that I realized as I was getting the recipe for to make a daiquiri, it's not going to be a frozen daiquiri, it's going to be a shaken daiquiri, is, daiquiris is nothing but the old fashioned of rum. And margaritas is nothing but the old fashioned of tequila. So I wonder what's the old fashioned for brandy. Interesting. Anyway, let's get into this cocktail. Well, today, I've been getting some real good deals on large bottles of alcohol. And as you can tell, I've already tested out the daiquiri. Now, today we are going to be using Myers rum. This is the platinum white rum. Now, if you have been keeping up with my videos, you know that there's not really a white or dark rum legally. You know what I'm saying? Or technically, there's not a white or dark rum. Okay, now there are some rums that tend to be darker because they were fermented, curated, whatever, in barrels which they took on the color of that barrel. If you have like a really dark rum, kind of like the Kraken, more likely than not, it's dye. It's food coloring to make it that color. Also, the type of sugar that they use the rum from. Is it sugar cane? Is it molasses? Okay, because some make rum from molasses. So, of course, it's going to take on the color of the molasses. So, this is just probably rum that was distilled in a steel barrel or steel container and not aged very long, because I don't see anything where it says how long it's been aged. You differentiate your rum by how long it's been aged. 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 12 years. That determines the differentiation of rum. Okay? So, let's get into it. This is a very easy drink to make. So what we're going to start off with is 2 jiggers. I'm going to do 3 because I'm going to want to refill as I go along. So I'm going to do about 3 jiggers of Myers white rum. 1. Woo-hoo-hoo. 2. 3. Okay, there that is. Ah ha ha ha. Woo. I didn't even taste this Myers rum, but Myers rum is pretty good for it not to be an aged rum or identified by its age. Okay, next we're going to get my homemade simple syrup. I still haven't gotten a nice little squeeze jar to put it in, but little container that I would put that in. But we're gonna do like 1.5 jiggers of it to kind of like measure out. Normally, I would do 2 jiggers of rum and 1 jigger of simple syrup. And I'm going to do 1 full jigger of lime juice. Ooh, I'm gonna need to give me some more lime. We're gonna add ice that I have in my according to Akara glass. Now, granted, I could have just poured it into my according to Akara glass, but I got this nice little martini glass, so I'm gonna use that tonight because I want to feel fancy. So we're going to shake this up until you see how it's starting to frost up on the outside. But I'm going to let it until it really really feel cold to the touch. And this is the perfect way. You're supposed to shake it like over the shoulder, above your head. Not like that, no. You're not going to get a real good mix that way. Doing it like that, boo, don't do that. I was watching a show where I think 50 Cent was mixing a drink, and homeboy was like down here, like, you are not jerking yourself off. Put that over your head, shake it over like not a tambourine, do the tambourine, shake a tambourine. No. See, I told y'all, I can always make a song out of it. Anything, but shake it over like 2 maracas. You do it like this. You don't do like that. Okay. And we're going to pour it into this martini glass. And we're going to put the rest to the side for refills. And now we're going to garnish it with a couple of cherries. Last couple of weeks, I was having issues. It seemed like I was spilling liquor everywhere. Just boop, boop, boop. It was knocking it down everywhere. Let's hope that's not what's going to happen tonight. Okay, so we're going to put that aside. This is just a regular rum daiquiri. Hey, let's get into chapter 6 of Court of Loving a Trill One. Now, okay, so chapter 6 starts off with Toya and her bakery. I didn't even know she had a bakery, child. She got a lot of business. She's a businesswoman. She's not a businesswoman. She's a business woman. She's a business man. She is a whole business, okay? No wonder why Tarika wanted to get her advice on how to build up business at the laundromat. She's a gifted business person. She's in her bakery. There's laughs of children, which breaks her out of her distracted thoughts, and she just smiles. And hearing the children laugh in her bakery makes her feel good about her decision about breaking it off from her past underworld lifestyle. Okay, yeah. And the life that she lived, the work that she did when she was working with Scar. She feels good about what she's done. Okay? And but so if she's watching the kids, there's a kids party in her bakery where there's a kids party. One of her daughter's classmates is having a birthday party in her bakery, and they're just having a whole good time eating cakes and cupcakes and stuff, and they're just having a good time. And it just makes her feel so good. Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so she's feeling really good about the decisions that she made. And but she can't help but to think about her past life. And she's like, why am I still having concern about the old business when I was supposed to have had a clean cut from them? It was clean cut. I got all the money that I need between Scar and Tyson and her business. She doesn't have to worry about money at all. Excuse me if you heard that. Am I gonna cut this out? No. This is a part of the authenticity. Um she has navigated her daughters through the toughest time of their lives of losing their father and her, while also dealing with her losing an ex-husband that she was with for the majority of her adult life. That's the only man she was with for her adult life, that is. I'm pretty sure she was with other people when she was younger in high school and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? And also losing Saint because she was too much in her feelings or had too much pride to say, baby, please don't leave me. But in actuality, too, she did need that time to kind of get over her ex, Tyson. Not only get over him because she had just divorced him. She had just divorced him. So she had to get over just everything that happened in the last, couple of years ago, or almost over a year ago, over a year and a half ago. That what happened in a whirlwind. Not only did you find out her husband was still in the street business, but that he had a child by his best friend, by her best friend, who they've been hiding this for years and were still screwing around. So she navigated her children through this, navigated through his death, being able to cut off, or so she believed, she cut off the whole business with Scar nice and clean. You know, he's gone. They found someone else. You know what I'm saying? They offered for her to stay, but she was like, nah, I never really was trying to be in this type of business, even though she found that she kind of she liked it, being a boss. But she's a boss of her own businesses, right? So she was like, why am I still concerned? I'm going to tell you why she's still concerned. Because she ain't cut off from him. She's still getting word through Zeus about what's going on in the game. She's still getting news about Scar being sick and what she's following Saint's sister on Instagram, so she knows what he's doing. So she haven't really clean cut herself away from the whole thing. Okay? So she's still concerned. She's still connected, just not as connected as it was when she was fully involved. Okay? So she's in her little daydream and, thinking about what she's gone through and happy about her decisions and confused. I don't know why, because she still be keeping tabs on what's going on in the business, in the street business, that is. And here comes her bestie. Cheers! Comes in with a plastic cup. Cheers, girl! Did you look that she turns left? She turned to her right, and it's Britton. Brit, girl, what you doing? What you talking about? Cheers. And Brit looked at her like, I know you didn't. She's like, I know you can't. How are you going to forget your 5-year anniversary of you opening up the bakery? I remember just like yesterday, I was the first customer. Cheers. I put it in these plastic cups so we don't get no judgmental looks of the parents that's over there for that little kids party. But it's supposed to be mimosas. But you know, girl, I'm a little heavy handed when it comes to the liquor. So it's probably mostly champagne. Mostly champagne. Now, side note, Britain is me. That's me. I am Britain and Britain is me. Okay? She's the loyal friend that's right there beside her through good and through bad. Remind her, girl. She's like, oh, you know what? She looked at the calendar and then she looked at her phone like, oh, you know what it is. She said, Britain, I can't believe you forgot. Girl, whatever. He said, she was like, good thinking about putting them in these plastic cups. Cheers. Drink up. And she does, she drinks it and like, oh, that's liquor. That's liquor. I told you it is mostly champagne. Okay. So, and of course, her girl confirms. It's like, I'm going to always be there through thick and thin, no matter what. I be remembering. If you don't remember, I'm going to remember. Now, I can't believe you forgot to say an anniversary of your stove. And so she drinks her champagne with an orange flavored champagne. And as she's bringing the cup down, she sees from a distance. She went from hey to She sees the Mercedes sedan. It's none other. If you've been reading these books and following along, you know who got that Mercedes sedan. None other than Cynthia. So she comes pulling up into the parking lot, and Toy gets up real quick off her stool to meet her outside before she crosses the threshold of her store. And she says, what are you doing here, Cynthia? And she said, I figured since you have your bakery open that you probably have my granddaughters here, since you don't never let me see them. Lies. She has a great relationship with Tarika. Now, just because you can't see them when they over with Tarika, ain't none of Toy's fault. And she was like, Cynthia's just out. She hates Toy. Cynthia believed that Toy thinks that she's better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or definitely better than her. I think, side note, that Cynthia knows that Toy is better than her. Okay? She goes on monologuing about, I don't know what my son saw in you. You blah, blah, blah. You just so bitter. She's like, girl, you haven't even been around me in a while to even know what I got, whether I still have an attitude or not. Now, so Cynthia, seeing that, she said, so where's my granddaughters? And Toy doesn't respond. So she took that as, so my granddaughters are here. So she tried to proceed to go into the bakery. And Toy pulled out the stiff arm like, but wait a minute, mama. Now, as their mother, I am here to protect them from good and bad energy, even if it's you. Now, you can see them when they're with Tarika. Okay? And they'll be with her next weekend. But right now, you can't see them. And you will not be going into my establishment causing havoc. Okay? She was like, And her eyes was rolling like Tarika with Therese, rolling, 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 rolling. I mean, like she's brushing her feathered bang from her face. So I'm assuming Cynthia ain't no, no chump, with the fashion, and neither is Toy. So they clash. You know what? I think that they probably clash because they're alike in a lot of ways. I think that there are some things that they're alike about. They're alike. Either that or Cynthia raised a mama's boy and she put her son on his pedestal. And now that he's gone, she blames her for everything that she feels like she stole her son from her. But sucks for you. Anyway, so Cynthia basically successfully blocked her from going in, and she rolled her eyes, whatever. Whatever. I don't see why my son liked you. He's like, he was fine until he met you, until you ruined him. He said, as she was turning to leave and go away, but she said it loud enough for Toy to hear her say that she ruined Tyson. And Toy was like, wait a minute, what you? And she just left, kept walking, left, got in the car, and sped away. You know, resist the devil and they will flee. But she was like, what do you mean by I ruined him? Everything I did was for the benefit of Tyson. What is she talking about? And that just kind of resonated with her. Like, what does she mean that I ruined him? How did I ruin Tyson? Side note, let me tell you what Cynthia meant. I think she believes that when Toy took over his business, that ruined Tyson. And his mother refused to give accountability to her son for still staying in the business, hiding all this stuff from her, and her actually taking over the business in order to help him. You know what I'm saying? He got bitter. And I'm pretty sure as his mother, she saw how he got bitter over it and she blamed Cynthia. What was she going to say no to? That's like saying no to Pablo Escobar. If I said no to doing this, what could have happened? It was believed. She made a decision based off that she really didn't have the choice of saying no. Okay. So we move on from that. She goes back into the bakery and she begins to continue cheering on. So she goes in there. So, I mean, no, actually, what happened is she's standing outside. She sees Cynthia speed away. And then she hears from behind her the bakery door open and someone say, Miss Ford? And she hears her, Miss Ford? He's like, and before she turns around, she forces a smile on her face like, hi, how are you doing? And she sees one of her daughter's classmates with her incredibly handsome single father. Okay. And she's like, hi, how are you doing? And she says, Brooklyn's classmate, let me read this so I can be correct. She hears, we're getting ready to head out, but when she turns around, we're getting ready to head out, but I just wanted to compliment you on your business. I've probably driven past a dozen times, but never stopped in. I plan on coming back Sometime, sometime because I love supporting Black owned businesses. And because my daughter is crazy about your red velvet cupcakes, he said, speaking of which, this is my daughter, Riley. She is in Brooklyn's class. I know she's a sweetheart, Toy said with a genuine smile. And you are Miles Brown. Miles Evans. I knew that was wrong. When I think of Miles, I think about Miles Monroe, the Into the Spider Verse. But either way, a dimpled smile graced their face while he extended his hand. Okay, so apparently he is a handsome man. Okay, and she noticed that she says in the book that the author puts in the book that he is single, very much single father. And so they have a little short conversation. He introduced her. She says, "Well, I would love for you to come through." He offered to have a play date between their daughters. We should, before I come through, maybe we could also have a play date with our daughters. And she said, "I would love to. You know, my contact information is in the school directory of parents. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you could get in contact with me." He was like, "I will. Thank you for letting me know. It's good to know." So they went ahead and left. But Brittany is sitting up here looking at, she goes back and said, I seen y'all talking to each other, looking at each other. She's like, Toy, like, girl, bye. Man, I'm not really thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even thinking about having any type of relationship. He said, girl, how long has it been since you've been out with a man? She said, not since Tyson. She was like, or not since Saint, actually. Not since Tyson and Saint. She hadn't been with a guy. And this would be about a year and a half, going on 2. And it's like, Britt's like, girl, I understand. He said, she was like, Toy was like, I've been concentrating on my daughters, navigating them through. He said, girl, your girls are fine. You need to get out there and get back in the pool. You need to get out there and date. You got needs. She's like, whatever. Now, for me, I was like, oh, I wrote down in my notepad, is Miles going to be the new love interest? You think Miles is going to be the new love interest, especially since Saint has moved on to Desiree? Will she be dating him? Will Saint come back and try? They hook up again. But will because they both are stubborn. Both of them are stubborn. Both Saint and Toy is stubborn. So it's quite possible that she will go out on a date with what's his name, Miles Evans, because he clearly was flirting with her. Britain knew what she saw, and she's right. He was clearly flirting with Toy. Toy might not have seen it. She might not have wanted to see it, but she noticed that dimpled smile though. It's gonna be a play day for sure. It's gonna be a children's and adults later. But anyway, so Britain kind of like, all right, now you need to get out there. You need to get back out there again. Those girls will be fine. So she's thinking, and she was like, then her phone started to vibrate on the counter. She turns it over, and it's Zeus. And she's like, hey, how you doing? You ready to be, go with us to Stars and Stripes later? He's like, about that. I'm gonna have to cancel. I'm caught up, I'm tied up with something else. And he's like, oh. He said, but maybe another time. He's like, yeah. And, he's talking, but she's hearing the background. It sounds like planes taking off and landing. He's like, are you picking up someone, Zeus? He's like, yeah, I'm picking up somebody. He does not go in detail of who he's picking up. But because they have become very close friends, especially in Tyson's absence and with the girls losing not only their father, but their godfather, Matt, Zeus has stepped up to kind of be a somewhat of a replacement of the two and to take over, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of show them some love. And she's like, she kind of knew what the not being, not giving her the full details meant. That meant that Saint's in town. It's like, he's like, I'm surprised. He said, she's like, you haven't talked to him about Scar's illness? And she said, I called Scar directly. Zeus, look, I'm surprised. Y'all, I don't know why you won't talk to him. Or y'all won't talk to each other. He's like, whatever. It's all good. He said, well, she said, well, don't worry about it. For real, honestly. It's cool. I'm cool. I know there's stuff to do. She's knowing what has been going on. And with Jamal being passed away and the situation and the circumstances of the time, she kind of knew what it was and she expected, she kind of knew that he was in there for that. He said, so Zeus was like, hey, I'll be available to hang out later. And then maybe the day after tomorrow, I'll be free. And with that being said, she kind of knew because they had grown close at this point. So she kind of knew what he was saying without saying it. So basically he was saying that Saint should be gone in a couple of days. So don't worry about it. She's like, okay, all right, then I'll see you then. All right. And so she gripped the phone a little tighter because she knew what Zeus was doing and what he was saying. I think she also gripped it a little bit, even though it doesn't say in the book, but Saint is back in Atlanta. Okay? Saint is back in Atlanta. He could have been her girl's stepfather at this point. But she knew that she saw that he's with another woman. Little does she know, he can't get her off his mind either. Somebody has got to put their pride away between these two, daggone it. Okay, so that's the end of scene. They make arrangements to meet up a couple of days later to for Zeus to spend some time with the girls. Okay, so that's the end of that scene. The next scene starts with Noah flicking a blunt roach away, that what was left of the blunt away to the pavement, while a few guys were putting an arsenal of guns in the back of this old school black van. Cargo van, whatever, in there. Okay, so I'm like, okay, they preparing for war. So she's like, okay. Noah says, come on, hurry up, let's get this over with. So y'all can go ahead and spend all your money at Blaze. a popular strip club that the guys often frequented, you know, in Atlanta. And some of them laughed and some nodded like, yeah, you know where we going after we finish this job. Um, so Noah is, so he's basically, you know, heading up this strike back, this retaliation move. So Noah nodded and keep looking annoyed. Zeus is like, okay, you got it together? He say, man, of course I got it together. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I do this type of ish in my sleep, man. But Zeus is like, but he's kind of like, but you are part of the reason why we even in this whole situation in the first place. Now Noah goes into a whole monologue in his head. He does not say none of this to Zeus or Keon, but in his head it's like he didn't feel like he should even be blamed for any of this because he didn't do the shooting. And he said, why is he getting blamed? Because his boy, Jamal had bad aiming and ended up shooting Champ's brother. That's not on him. He was just the driver. And in some way, I agree with him because this was his boss. Jamal was his boss, and he told him to drive. He kept the information from him on what he was getting involved with, and Noah tried time and time again to talk him out of it. But because he's the one alive, and he did, they feel like he could have called Zeus, text Zeus like, yo, he's about to do this, and he's making me do this. This going to be, what could he done? You know what I'm saying? I feel like maybe he could have texted Zeus. He could have faked, yo, I got a text from Zeus. Or he could have texted him real quick or something to say, yo, I think he's about to do something stupid. So, yo, call Jamal and have him do something, they need to do or whatever. But he didn't do that. He just did what he thought he was supposed to do. So he's like, after he's like, okay, they got loaded up. His plan is to burn down or destroy product. Is to hit his pockets by destroying product. And the way he's going to destroy product is to burn down his warehouse where his product was. He only had the guns and these extra guys in case something else pops off and he needs gunpowder. You know what I'm saying? He needs some shooters on his side. Little did he know, he needed them shooters. So they head towards one of Champ's lucrative warehouses that had a lot of product, which they knew. And when they arrived, one of the guys in the van like, what the fuck? They see a couple of Champ's guys laying on the pavement in a pool of their own blood. It's like, dang, is Champ messing up with more than how many people he got against him? Because they didn't hit him. So Noah puts the van in park like, it's like, so what we gonna do? His boy's like, so what we gonna do? They looking at Noah, and Noah's like, oh. He said, fuck it. I'm still gonna burn the place down. Johnny, get over here in this, be ready to go when it's time to go. Ace, you come with me. Guys, y'all be ready in case something pop off. So they go around the back or whatever and start, putting gasoline and igniting, starting that fire. Okay, so it's starting the fire there. Noah and Ace is heading towards the van, and then they see two cars pull up, and then one of the people in the car got out the car like, what the fuck is happening? And then they see Noah running towards the van, and they recognize who he was. So they started, and then they saw the van of where they were running to, and they started shooting. That's right, gunfire. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And they're like, barely escaped the gunfire. They're shooting guns, and of course the shooters is returning fire. Noah gets into the van not hit, but Ace ended up getting hit in the side. In the side, like, oh, they got me. Man down. Pimp down. It's not a pimp. Man down. Man down. So they managed to get Ace into the van in one of the side doors, and they pulled off, and Johnny peeled out of there. And Noah's like, hurry up. Get us somewhere where we can get Ace looked at. Not at all the way he expected to do it. At first I thought to myself, I would have just backed out. I would have just left. I said, apparently he already got something going on here. Okay. This isn't the time. I said, but then I also thought they're going to obviously think it was Scar's camp. It was Jamal's camp that is retaliating for killing Jamal. Duh. And they weren't trying to hit people. They weren't trying to kill anyone. They was just trying to destroy their product. So more people down. So Noah texts someone, an unknown person. He said, Ninja, what the fuck? I thought you were going to have the spot cleared out. Where the hell them bodies come from? And he receives a text from an unknown number or unsaved number. It says, some ish popped off, man. Ninjas got suspect, and I had to take them out. Well, you could have texted me like, hold off. Don't go. We had to take some people out. So it's like Noah's like his forehead frowned up in a deeper frown, like shh. Put his phone back in his pocket. Someone hadn't held up their end of the bargain, and he was pissed. It's like, so again, Noah is in a situation where I thought you had this hemmed up. I thought you did this in your sleep. Zeus is going to say this. I thought you had this. No, not even Zeus is going to say this. Saint is going to say this. What are you doing? Y'all boys don't know nothing. And that's the end of chapter 6. But I know Saint is going to look. What the heck is going on here? How is it y'all so this stupid and y'all don't know how to do this? What the hell are y'all doing? And I bet you this is going to be a good reason for Saint to have to stay longer than he expects, which is going to put a little cramp in Miss Toy's kind of trying to stay out the business, because they're going to cross paths somehow. I feel like Saint is going to call on Toy for some help. Because right now, Jamal, Noah, and Ace and Keon is like the Three Stooges right now. And Zeus is probably like, I know Zeus is going to be too through. You got two people that are fine being lieutenants, not really trying to run the business, and a woman that doesn't never really want to be in the business in the first place. She only did it to support her husband. So there's three people that really don't want to be in a leadership role. Toy's in a good place. She don't have to worry about her children's safety or none of that. Or even hers. What they gonna do? What they gonna do? Because this is definitely gonna be a retaliation. This is definitely gonna be a retaliation. Because indirectly it was Jamal's, now Keon's camp, that shot and killed Champ's men. Just saying. It's a whole shit show. It's a whole shit show right now. I wonder how the author is going to weave this in. And is he going to go out? Is Toy going to go out on a date with what's his name? Evan Williams. That's not the name. With Miles Evans. It sounds like a real estate group, doesn't it? Miles Evans, real estate agent. How long is Saint going to really end up having to stay in Atlanta? Now you got the Three Stooges running the Atlanta. They need a mature, calm, level-headed man or woman to run Atlanta. And the Three Stooges that they got going on ain't happening. Noah ain't wise. Keon ain't wise. Jamal wasn't wise. He got all caught up in his feelings over his baby mama sleeping with the op. He could have found that man by himself and taken him out. Anyway, so now this is going to just piss off Champ. And so he's going to have to retaliate because of how they did what they did. Who's going to step up and say, let's meet, let's talk about this? Because we can't be having this war going back and forth, back and forth. What happens if Scar dies in the process? Who's going to take over? Will Saint be taking over? Because if that's the fact, he can't do that from Atlanta. And at some point, he's going to have to tell Desiree what his true career is. Is she going to be able to take it? Oh, this is a whole lot that's going on here. But at any rate, that's all I got for you. That's the end of chapter 6. Get the book at michelleelainebooks.com. This is Caught Up Loving a Trill one. It is a quillogy. It's a 4-book series. You can get it there, get all the books, and then come back and follow me and see all of the bedtime stories here on YouTube and also on IG, aka Instagram. I'll talk to you later. Next bedtime stories. Also, don't forget to tune in on Instagram tomorrow morning, where I'll be doing the morning chat, and Facebook Live, where I'll be recapping the morning chat on my ride into work. I'll talk to you next time. Y'all have a good night's sleep. Bye.